Hey, Namo Buddhaya. So this video is all for you new subscribers, 100 last night. I promised I'd make a proper video if I got some subscribers, so here it is. Please enjoy. Thank you for subscribing. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Good morning. Before I go to the temple for morning puja and chanting, I'm on the roof of the temple. I'm going to just investigate the condition of my alternative accommodation, because we had some rain last night and quite heavy rain too. So let's have a look, shall we? Excuse that rough edit. When one is sleeping outside in places you don't know, it's you wouldn't really want to be in an orange tent or a bright colour. These camouflages were designed for a purpose and they work. You can camouflage yourselves in some bushes or something like this. But as I said before, I prefer to just sleep outside looking at the stars. It's the most beautiful ceiling in the world is the celestial ceiling. All of the stars and the moon. You can watch the moon rise, the moon set. There is a little video on my channel thing, that has some pictures of moons and suns. Not as many as I like, but I'm not really a photographer. It isn't a monk's thing to take pictures and get excited about these worldly things. But of course the moon plays an important part in our Buddhist lives. It is mine, and it is most monks' calendar, because our Uposators every 15 days are when we have our recital of the Patimokkha rules, which I've just been to Bangalore for this yesterday. I returned, I went on Friday. The full moon actually was yesterday, but in the Buddhist calendar, it's because of this dawn thing, the Patimokkha full moon was considered the Friday. Yeah, not to confuse everybody with this stuff. It's suffice to say, the moon is very important. A little more so than the sun, which of course the lunar calendar is the Buddhist calendar. The solar calendar got adopted later on by whoever, probably the Greeks or something like that, I'm not sure. Now, I've got my umbrella. It's getting light, beautiful. I'm now going to go to the temple without delay. Normally I meditate in the temple at this time, but I'm having a little break from meditation because on the Uposatha we stay up all night and meditate. So this was last Friday night. You see, you can tell I'm a little tired because I'm losing concentration. I stayed up all night on Friday night meditating whilst I was at the Mahabodhi Society in Bangalore, and then travelled back here to after our meal time at 11 o'clock yesterday afternoon to Tumkur. The actual journey was fine on the bus. It was usual, kind of very bumpy, very noisy. The horn beep 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 all of the way, and I just don't understand that practice in this country. I really will never get used to it. But you don't hear it because it's happening all of the time, but you do hear it when you go to another country, because you think, wow, this journey, these vehicles, this town, it's so quiet, because not everybody is not sounding their horn every 5 minutes. Not every 5 minutes, I'm sorry, all of the time, constantly. They have even an extra button in some vehicles on the steering part, so that they can do it with their thumb without moving their hand to the middle of the steering wheel. How about that? Can you understand? I do not understand it. It's actually it's considered, I think, an offence in our country, in the UK, to go round going do. You have to do it only for a significant reason, to get someone out of the way, or really need to let someone know you're coming, not just to drive along. I do not understand this. Anyway, I'm ranting and raving because, of course, lack of sleep. Now, lack of sleep or tiredness, sloth and torpor, can be a hindrance in meditation. So therefore, our recommendation is, when we're trying to meditate, if we're tired, then not to fight it, to have rest, of course, and make sure you can restore your energies. Or if it's impractical to do so, as it is perhaps for me just at the moment because it's the morning time, I did sleep last night, but as you know, it catches up 24 hours later. So I am getting fresh air, getting light, splash my face with some cold water, have a cold shower, all of these kinds of things. Refreshes, revitalizes you. I will go for a walk this morning. I'm hoping to go on arms round, but if it's raining, it's not practical to do so in the area that I'm in, because the paths aren't roads. It's a dry mud ordinarily, but today it won't just be a slippy, slidey lot of clay. I'll walk along the parts of the road that do have some kind of gravel on, just to stretch my legs, and do some walking meditation in the grounds here. There's plenty of space for that. It's a beautiful, beautiful place where I'm staying. So I'm very happy the tent has survived the storms, survived the weather. It's remained dry. That would be perfectly adequate for anybody to sleep in. Whether I ever will or not, I don't know. When I do go off on my charaka rounds, when I go on too long, I'd probably say I can't really be bothered or see really the necessity to carry this with me. Ordinarily, what happens when it does rain unexpectedly, there are so many places in India, there's beautiful temples everywhere, and nobody ever minds if you're a monk. Maybe anybody, I don't know, but I've been a monk only in India traveling. But certainly with me, nobody ever minds if you go and sleep under the porch in one of those temples when it's raining. People actually are very happy for you to do so, encourage you to do so, and come and speak to you, offer you things. It's a very accommodating place like that, for monks anyway, especially. So despite all the horn sounding and some of the grievances that come up, and I'm fully aware in my bodily experiences when a little anger, you know, even an arahant, a fully enlightened being, prior to that stage, a non-returner, so someone who's approaching becoming a fully enlightened being, an arahant, not quite a Buddha, but there nearly, still can have anger arising. But what is important, you know how to deal with it. You understand these feelings arising. If you have problems with this, with anger, with annoyance, then one way of dealing with it is to always just bring your awareness to the body, and you can feel it arising in the central area, in the same sort of location as where anxiety arises, and most of our emotional feelings in our mind are reflected in the torso, in the solar plex, in the sort of central torso area. Bring your awareness to this and it will dissipate, because you've taken your attention away from the thing that was annoying you at the time. A little bit difficult with a DBB because it's an ongoing thing, but in that example, with something like this, with maybe church bells, or with a railway line, or living near an airport, you don't notice it after some time. Actually, quite a short time. You can live by an airport or near a mainline railway station or a motorway, and you wouldn't notice that sound after a matter of 24 hours or 48 hours, a few days at the most. It's never going to bother you. Like when you turn the fridge off, you notice the silence. You don't notice the humming of the fridge until you turn it off, or it clicks itself off as they do, and you think, beautiful, that's lovely, and then a few minutes later, oh, how annoying is that? You think, why did it turn off? But anyway, you see what I'm saying? Like what I've said before on one of my little talk things, look for the silence between the sounds. It's the silence between the sounds. It's like finding the space in the room between the objects. It's the space in the room between the objects. This is where we find our spaciousness and our silence. This is the practice. This is understanding that we have seclusion, we have peace and quiet, we have this serene environment with us in whatever situation we're in. And India is a fantastic country to practice this, because there are very few places, other than little monasteries tucked out of the way like this, that have silence. And even here, you know, we have the chickens and the cockerels and the peacocks, many peacocks. They're not shouting yet, but they will be shouting shortly, I can assure you. And they do make some noise. So all of these sounds are around us. This is just nature. This is the universe we live in, and it's beautiful. We love these sounds. We hear music and we think it's beautiful. It arises emotions in us. The same way as a nasty sound like beep, beep, beep arises anger of a negative nature in us. We can associate all these sounds with different things. So just enjoy them. We say to ourselves in our mind, if sounds are either bothering us or if sounds are giving us pleasure, still say this, say hearing. This is just hearing, okay? If you label all sounds as hearing, it kind of takes the edge off of whatever it is. This is not to diminish the enjoyment of listening to beautiful music or to try and avoid the annoyance of anger. It's to understand these feelings, and this is the practice. This is what I am doing here in India as a monk, and that is understanding how emotions arise, how bodily feelings arise, how aversion is dealt with, and how we then eventually use all of this understanding to deal with eradicating desire. Not in an unhealthy way. We can still want things that we need, but to stop wanting things that we do not need, other than unless if it's really appropriate and we want them. But you know, when we need that extra snack or that extra cup of coffee, rather than sitting and meditating, or we use that extra snack or that extra cup of coffee as an excuse to get up from our meditation, then that's the time to say, hey, look, I don't really need this. Keep meditating. The result will be far more satisfactory. Now, I must grab my umbrella that I came up here for. I have digressed. I didn't intend to actually have this conversation, but I'm living in an area where nobody speaks English, or at least they do speak it, but they really don't understand. Although they all say, yes, Bhante, yes, Bhante, yes, Bhante. I hear yes, Bhante all of the time, all day. And this fools me into this false sense of security. I think, wow, good, this is great. I explain that clearly, slowly, not like I'm ranting on now. I speak like this. One has to, in India, overpronounce the consonants like so, because this is Indian English. Indian English is very different to English English. You need to speak clearly by pronouncing the consonants as well as the vowels, and then you can be understood speaking like this. This works perfectly in Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, such places. But in the villages where it's a very, just a school English, maybe, I don't know how it works, but they'll politely agree. Yes, is the washroom, is the washroom that way? Oh, yes, Bhante, yes, Bhante. Okay, and off you go this way, because you know, it makes no difference which way you go. They're going to say yes, Bhante, whether it's that way or that way. They're just overly helpful. They're just being kind. Now, this is what it's all about. This is why it's a beautiful country. Everybody's so kind, so hospitable, and apart from the colour and the splendid aspects that we see here every day, the kindness and the metta, as we call it, loving kindness in the Buddhist language, is immense in this country. So I'm not criticizing anything at all. I look at all this with some amusement, because you have to experience it to really see it and know it. Anyway, look, I got to get down to the temple now. It must be nearly 6 o'clock. Time for some chanting. Short chanting this morning. Then I will either go off on my arms round if it brightens up and dries up a little bit, or go for a walk. We'll see what happens. The day will unfold. Thank you for listening. Namo Buddhaya. As you can see, it's only just getting light. The time is about 5:30, 20 to 6, I think, which we consider in the Buddhist world dawn. Dawn is determined by being able to see the lines on the palm of your hand without any light, just in the natural light. This is considered dawn. So it's about 20 minutes before sunrise. The reason this is significant is because the beginning of the Buddhist day is dawn. So everything has to be done before dawn. Everything has to start after dawn. i.e. if we have a little hole in our robe, the size So this has been up on the roof here now for about a week, since the time I started making these videos, beginning of last week. We're now Sunday. Let's open this. I think maybe one-handed is a bit ambitious, but I'm managing. So we put, now I'm not expecting this to be dry, and I think probably, let's bear with me, hold on. It's actually it's pretty good. You know, it's got some little droplets in the corner, bit of rain there. This is the little bag it goes in, and there's the pegs. I haven't bothered with the pegs even. I've just put 2 bricks in the corners. Okay, we've had some strong wind, so that's pretty good. And actually the purpose of my coming up to the roof was not to originally do this, get into my tent at all. Actually to pick up my umbrella just in case I need it later, seeing this rain. So here we go. I have a look, a matching army coloured tent and umbrella. This is not for the purpose, obviously, of going to war, but when one is sleeping. Hold on. How beautiful and fresh everything is just after the rain. I'm just on my way down to the temple, like I said, and I thought I'd just show you the bright colours, the vibrancy of this place. Taking a little walk around the front here, just to show you the morning after the rain. I think it's going to be a very nice day. Although it's monsoon season, you get some heavy rain, but here inland, we're right in the the middle of South India here, 70 kilometers to the west of Bangalore. I often stay in a place called Gokana, which is about another 300 kilometers to the west on the west coast, in a straight line from here. I should say horizontal line if you're looking at the map, or if you go from here or Bangalore in a horizontal line about 370 kilometers east of Bangalore, you find yourself in Pondicherry, which anyone there in the UK watching this will know. Pondicherry, there was a TV series about it. It's actually nothing like what they showed on that TV series. It's much nicer. They actually was purported to be staying in Pondicherry, but they did their filming in many other places. But Pondicherry is a beautiful place itself. It's quite unusual. That's another story. Anyway, ordinarily we have a little puja at this shrine under this Bodhi tree, the auspicious Bodhi tree. This is the papal tree in the Latin or something. This is the kind of tree that the Buddha became enlightened under, as is in Bodh Gaya, the Mecca of Buddhism, the holy place of Buddhism, where the Buddha was enlightened originally 2,566 years ago, under one of these trees. It's not the same tree there, it's one of its descendants. The original one went to Sri Lanka, then a cutting from that was brought back to Bodh Gaya, planted there. Now most of these trees, including this one and the one at our Mahabodhi Society in Bangalore, are also are members of that same family. So cuttings of cuttings of cuttings, grandchildren, cousins, aunties, uncles, whatever. It's a little wet for me to do puja there this morning, but I'll walk round later and I chant a little chant called, well, I don't know what it's called, but it goes Yasamuli Nasino Wa. This is a little video already there, headed Beautiful Bodhi Tree, and I chant the chanting to the Bodhi tree of its auspiciousness. Yeah, sorry, getting a bit mixed up with my words there, trying to hold the camera and speak at the same time. You know, I'm very unprofessional at this stuff. So this is good. Here we are. I opened the temple actually a lot earlier. I came down. I walked out of my room just across here to the temple at 4 this morning to open the doors, light some candles, light some incense. I like to freshen the place up. It's more the habit to keep places shut up here. Protection from animals and the weather, I suppose. But you know, I love fresh air. I love the outside, as you can imagine. I sleep outside, live outside as much as I can. So clearly I'm an outside person, and I like to bring outside in, especially in a place like this of practicing our religion, or a place of practice. It just keeps it fresh, keeps it nice, keeps it open. So also now I'll go in there. I don't walk through this door, I go through the door to the side. This is the ordinary thing for monks to do, so that they don't have to walk all the way through, if there were people in there, through the people. Because the people would tend to want to stop and bow and get up. And I'm going in there now. This gentleman is, good morning, namaste. So here we have some aggregates, bricks and this, that and the other. On the 11th of September, 50 monks from the Mahabodhi Society are coming here for an inauguration program of this new Bhikkhu Kuti, accommodation that is, for monks like me. I'm the only person here now, and it'll probably remain that way, but this stuff arrived, I think, yesterday. They're going to make some kind of floor, tiles in there, I think you'd call them, for a patio, terrace, something like that. Yes, I'll put more information out about that later on. And over here we have the coconut husks, you'd call them, I suppose. Yes, they get used for they're a fire lighting material. We use them for making those mats in the front doors of people's houses that say welcome on them or such like. And Here they use them for lighting fires because they're very flammable. In fact, they are illegal to take on aeroplanes, just like we have Zippos and lighter fluid and this, that and the other on posters in airports. In India, all the airports, both domestic and international, have posters, none of this coconut stuff, whatever it's called. Wow, this is an interesting thing to me anyway. But Thailand, similarly, no Buddha Rupas, these statues, because you're not allowed, for the international airport, because you're not allowed to take those out of the country. I've tried sending one beautiful little brass Rupa, 6-9 inches, I don't know, tall, back to the UK, through the official channels, got the license, agreed, through the post offices there, paid the money. It got returned at the last minute from Bangkok back to wherever I was staying at the time, and very sad, but you know, it wasn't meant to be. They returned all the postage money and everything, and it was returned in perfect condition, obviously, so no problem. But and it's still there, and I'll put a picture of the man where I was staying under his tree, a similar kind of tree to the Bodhi tree, a similar kind of papal tree, which is a fig tree of that family, where I was staying under his tree with his Gwen Yen statue for some time. I'll put a picture on here if I can work out how to edit that in. Actually, I'm finding it difficult to remember to push this button on, so this is the second time I've said this bit. So if I've gone a little flat, it's because I'm repeating myself and I'm trying to remember, did I say that? Or am I saying it new? I don't know where I am. Time to get in for puja. Now, what I did say, and I think I did forget to record, was that I'm probably a little late. I think it's beyond 6 now. But the reason we have, I try to keep to this, well, I'm here alone. Nobody's going to be complaining, hey, Bhante Dhammarakkhita, or Bhante, or Dan, whatever they want to call me. Bhante D is quite useful. It's Bhante Dhammarakkhita for the Indians because they love long names. That's why they've called me Bhante Dhammarakkhita. We don't pick this name, we get given it. Usually it's your Christian name in Thailand, they use the same letter. I think that was just luck here. So when people look perplexed that Bhante Dhammarakkhita Bhikkhu, when I'm speaking to Western people, I say, but just Bhante D is fine, or just Dan. Because, you know, my name was Dan previously, and names are really not that important, are they? As long as people know what to call you, if they need to call you anything, and you know that they're speaking to you and not the person next to you. This is all it's for. A convention, let's say. So, away from names, timing. It's very important to have a routine. Not just for routine's sake. It keeps us tidy in our minds. It keeps us organised. Without a routine, without a daily schedule, even if you're not busy. If you retire from work, don't give up your diary. Don't give up your daily routine. Have plans. Make a routine. Make a schedule. Not for scheduling's sake. Not for bureaucracy that when it's unnecessary. Because if you don't have such a purpose. Also, your life is more fulfilling, it's more organised, because you're not thinking about when to do something next. It's done, it's written in your diary. Like making lists. If you've got a cluttered mind, a busy mind, write a list. A to-do list maybe, or just a thought, write it down. I've been not having a busy mind, but I started these, let's call them what you're supposed to call them, vlogs or whatever, because I was having these thoughts as I was walking, as I was going from A to B, and I was bringing my attention back to the breath, the body, this and that, but you still have thoughts arise, and normally you'd speak to someone next to you, or you have a conversation, not idle chitter-chatter, but if an interesting thing arises, like, oh, did you know about airports and coconuts? You'd like to share that with someone. So I started doing this so I could share these things with myself, but then I found you could put them on this YouTube by pushing just a simple button, and whoa, there we go. Now I've got some over 100 of these people watching this stuff, which I know is not very big in the scheme of things, not many in the scheme of things, but it's more than I'm normally sharing this stuff with. For instance, the person next to me, or some random stranger in a shop who's happened to have the bad karma or misfortune to get me as a customer. Not that I'm buying anything, because I have this person doing the money thing, so I've got nothing to fiddle about with, so I might start talking and ranting and raving about all this nonsense to them. and they're just wanting to do their job and get me out of the shop and serve the next person. But there we are. I'm going to go in and do this puja now. I am late. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to complain. Sorry, I won't do it again. I'll be on time tomorrow. It's the rain, it's the lack of sleep. I hope I did remember to push the button and record that bit, and I don't want to explain all the lack of sleep thing again, or the beep 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 thing again. I ought to get on with my day. I'm looking at the time on this, if I can see that properly. Yeah, it's into getting on for 8 minutes, 10 minutes of this video. I think these videos, oh no, that's 5 minutes, so maybe I've missed quite a bit. But I don't think these videos should be too long. If they're a nice reasonable length, you could just watch one when you have a quick cup of coffee. If you learn something from it, great. If you don't, then that doesn't matter either. If you don't like it, you can just push the button and go to the next one, can't you? If you like it, you can see it to the end. Either way, it makes no difference to me. I appreciate this medium, this opportunity to, like I'm suggesting to you, write a list. I'm also suggest this. Get these things out. Speak, talk. When you can't talk to somebody, talk to yourself. Sometimes better than just talking to yourself, write it down. You don't have to then look at the list ever again. The process of writing it down gets it all out. This is a great way of dealing with things. And it's quite enjoyable too. Once you start doing it, you'll find, oh, I want to write again, write again, write again. This is where journals came from. And now they're not journals, they're blogs or vlogs or whatever, modern version. Same thing, they've been around forever. They started doing it on stones. You know, the Stone Age people doing little pictures in caves. So here we go. Into the puja now, and I'll speak to you all again later. Thank you for listening. Namo Buddhaya. So the first thing to do, after you've bowed to the Buddha statue, we bow to remind ourselves. We know we're not bowing to a god, we're not bowing to a false idols or any of this nonsense. You know, it's repetition bowing is like prostrations they do in the Tibetan tradition. It's reminding yourselves of your practice, the Buddha's teachings of sila, samadhi, panya. We'll talk about that another time, but it's moral virtue, samadhi, meditation, panya, wisdom, developing wisdom. We're reminding ourselves of that and our refuge we're taking in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the triple gem. Okay. Now it's important to understand that this isn't asking for an external. Sorry if that was bad editing again, I wanted to turn around. He's not asking for an external god or force or power to give us help, to protect us, to do us anything, any favours, give us a better job, a promotion, or pass our exams. It's reminding ourselves that the Buddha, a teacher, a man, a human being, a long time ago, albeit, he left teachings, the Dharma, which the Sangha, the monks, 2,566 years later, are still teaching and practicing, more importantly. We're more practicing people than teaching people. There are many Buddhist teachers, monks are Buddhist teachers, but the majority go away to a forest quietly, a forest, a cave, a hut in a forest, a lonely place, or just outside, like me, and we just meditate. This is the practice. This is how we hope to become enlightened. So, given all that, we're bowing to remind ourselves, and a good way to remind yourselves of anything is to do some physical action. It's like muscle memory. So, you know, sometimes if you're trying to learn some lines, learn something, I don't know, a speech or a presentation, in my case some chanting words or something like that. I'm not very good at memorizing this stuff. If you sit still and try and learn, impossible. If you walk somewhere, I can still remember some chanting lines because I can visualize where I was walking from, exactly the place. I can remember a certain part of a chant where I was going from this bit to that bit, learning this chant, and each line reminds me of each step along the way of that journey. So the movement is reminding, helping reinforce memory. I'm not sure how the mechanics work of all of this because I'm not a neuroscientist or anything like that, but point of it is it works. The practice works. All of this stuff works. Do you know, if it didn't work, it wouldn't be here now to this day. It is here to this day because it works. It's simple as that. You could say, well, there's many religions around that don't work and they're still, but no, this is the longest lasting, single, unchanged religion in history. There is no doubt, there is no other religion that has remained unchanged for more than 2,566 years. And that's another fact. Time for puja. You know, if in an ordinary situation where there were people around, we wouldn't have this wonderful opportunity to be speaking and talking as I go through these things. So I welcome this opportunity. I'm grateful for it, and I hopefully it's useful to you too, to see what goes on. This is turning out to be another day in the life. I've got a day in the life video on here, which is not very good, to be honest, but a few little bits going through my day. This one might be a little bit more expansive on that. So I suppose I'm getting a bit more relaxed with the whole filming thing. Okay, so now puja will start. I'm going to try and have what I call a nice chanting this morning, something a little a bit more gentle than what I've done before on here. It varies from monastery to monastery, from country to country, tradition to tradition, language to language. I'll do just the core chantings this morning, the basic ones, and then go about my day. All right, speak soon. Namo Buddhaya. So, I finished my chanting this morning, and now we'll, as you see, not a huge congregation. I think the local little dog wandered in here, one of them. I don't know. You might have seen on the camera behind me. And it's brightening up now, very nice. Some clouds in the sky. You know, this is monsoon season, not the blue skies we have had. But this will be short. It'll soon be bright again. So I think now time for a coffee. Namo Buddhaya.